What's going on YouTube? Flashy here and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. Now, it's no surprise that Bungie really wants us to play Solar, Void, and Strand this season, given all of the seasonal mods and whatnot, and that is okay. We had a ton of fun putting together ultimate Void builds for each class and really tapping into the seasonal artifact mods and all that. But I gotta be honest, as an old Destiny 1 Blade Dancer main, I've been missing playing Arc Hunter again. But today, we're gonna be discussing a build so powerful you won't even need surges or artifact mods anyway. But seriously, this build is a ton of fun, and it'll actually be serving as a really solid base point for when Arc is the featured energy type in the next Destiny 2 season, Season of the Deep. It's all about constantly getting our super back from non-stop orb generation, both of which are going to be buffed up, and we'll get into that in a little bit, while also raining down Arc storms on literally everything in front of us, boss, ads, it doesn't matter. All of the enemies are going to be exploding in bright blue chains of lightning, and you'll finally feel like that Arc god once again. Before we get into the build though, please be sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. It really helps out the channel a ton, and be sure to subscribe so you get notified of new Destiny 2 videos here. But now to get into the build, starting with the subclass, of course, we have to go Gathering Storm. The damage from this super is absolutely crazy, and it's just so much fun to use. For our class ability, we'll be taking Gambler's Dodge, fully recharging our melee ability when we dodge near enemies. Triple jump for our jump, but don't get me wrong, I miss you, Blink. Our melee will grab Combination Blow, which is going to get up to 3 stacks of damage increase and fully recharge our dodge and even give us some health. And finally, Storm Grenade for our grenade. However, for really hard endgame content, such as like Master Raids or anything like that, I tend to go Flashbang, so either of them work really well. And now moving over to the aspects, the first one is going to be Flow State. Defeating a jolted target makes you amplified. Also, while you're amplified, your dodge is recharging quicker, you have more resilience while dodging, and your reload speed is greatly increased. However, also while you're amplified, your movement speed and weapon handling are increased with a bigger movement speed boost after a short while sprinting. So yes, tons of buffs just for being amplified, which we pretty much always will be, so the Arc Hunter can get pretty beefed up when things start to get rolling. And next we have Lethal Current. After dodging, your next melee attack has increased lunge, jolts the target, and creates a damaging aftershock. Meleeing a jolted target also blinds them, and for those that don't know, jolted targets take more damage and chain lightning to nearby enemies. When looking at the fragments for this build, we really want to focus on buffing up our character even more, making sure we get amplified constantly and have even more perks to being amplified. So the fragments that I like to run are going to be Spark of Haste. You have greatly increased resilience, recovery, and mobility while sprinting. Spark of Beacons. While you're amplified, your Arc special weapon final blows create a blinding explosion. Spark of Volts. Finishers make you amplified, and we also get a +10 to recovery. And finally, Spark of Amplitude. Rapidly defeating targets while you're amplified creates an orb of power. So we have our subclass all set, and usually we would spend some time on the seasonal artifacts we need for this build, but since Arc is not one of the featured subclasses this season, as I mentioned earlier, we really don't need that many. Actually, we only need 2. Authorized Mods Grenades, which drops armor mod costs affecting grenades from 3 down to 1, as well as Shatter Orbs, which is the first time you break a combatant's shield, you create an Orb of Power if you broke it with the matching damage type, aka anything with Arc Shields will give us an orb because we're only using Arc damage. Now, when looking at the weapons I use for this build, just like many of my old Arc build videos, we gotta pair this with the Thunderlord. Still to this day, one of the most fun and most damaging exotics out there. Works perfectly with any build, but just feels that much better when you're running it on Arc. And for the special slot, we're going to be going with the Forbearance, and we want to make sure that we have the Chain Reaction perk. Each final blow with this weapon creates an elemental damage explosion to be even more devastating when we're ad clearing, because don't forget, with Spark of Beacons, our Arc special weapon is creating a blinding explosion as well. So really nice synergy there between the fragment and our special weapon. However, maybe everybody does not have a Forbearance. Maybe you don't have a raid team to do Vow of the Disciple. A really good option that's pretty easy to get is the brand new Prodigal Return Grenade Launcher, which can also roll with Volt Shot. So this is also a really solid pick here if you don't have Forbearance, or maybe you just like this a little bit more than a Wave Frame Grenade Launcher. To quickly go over some of the stats, first and foremost, you really want to have 100 resilience pretty much always for PvE, and then after that I like to focus on discipline to get our grenade back, because everything else kind of just ends up figuring itself out with our fragments and our mods. But as a hunter, you also want to make sure you have a little bit of mobility as well. And now to the armor, and for our exotic, we're going to be going with the Star Eater Scales leg armor with the armor perk Feast of Light. You gain additional super energy from orbs of power you pick up. So on large super orbs, we get 10% of our super back instead of just 7.1%, and the smaller orbs give us 4.17% of our super back instead of just the 2.5% that everyone else is getting. Also, while super energy is full, picking up an orb of power overcharges your super, causing you to gain a burst of healing when cast and a bonus to your super damage. At maximum overcharge, you also gain an overshield. So the way this works is that when our super is full, each orb we pick up is going to apply a stack of Feast of Light, which is going to stack up to 4 times. And when we're at all 4 stacks of Feast of Light, as soon as we launch our super, it's going to be doing an additional 70% increased damage. And with Gathering Storm already being a beast of a super, it gets absolutely crazy when you pair it with a fully buffed up Star Eater scales. And now to go over our armor mods, starting with the helmet, we're going to be grabbing Dynamo, reduces super cooldown when using your class ability near targets, which is what we're going to be doing anyway to recharge our melee because of our Gambler's Dodge. 1 copy of Ashes to Assets, gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. And then Harmonic Siphon, rapid arc weapon, final blows, create an orb of power. For the gauntlets, we have 1 copy of Grenade Kickstart, regenning some of our grenade energy when we throw our grenade. Impact Induction, causing damage with melee, reduces your grenade cooldown. And heavy-handed, your powered melee final blows create orbs of power. Pairs really great with Arc Hunters and the combination blow. For the chest piece, we're really just looking at arc reserves and then some kind of resistance based on whatever activity you're running. And then for our legs, we definitely need a copy of Recuperation. Replenishes health each time you pick up an orb of power. Arc Hunter doesn't get something like Devour or Restoration to easily heal, so running orb power healers is really nice. And pairing that with Better Already, which starts to regenerate health on orb pickup, makes you feel pretty unstoppable. And we also grab 1 copy of Innervation, reducing grenade cooldown on orb pickup. And finally, for the class item, I like 2 copies of Bomber, reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability, and 1 copy of Reaper. After using your class ability, your next weapon final blow spawns an orb of power. So make orbs, collect orbs, rain down arc storms on enemies, and launch your super non-stop. That's the general idea here, and it is so much fun. Again, I can only imagine how insane this build is going to be when Arc is the featured subclass, because you already feel like a complete Arc god when running this right now. It's only going to get better. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments if you decide to try this out and tell me what you think. If you're interested in the appearance customization I use for this, that's on screen now if you want to screenshot it, and I'll also leave the dim link in the description. As a quick reminder, keep up to date with myself and the channel by following me over on Twitter, and check out the TikTok page as well, all of which are going to be linked down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.